I'm Bob Bowman, chairman of the branch. And I'm based in Bury St Edmunds in the heart of East Anglia. I've recently retired after 50 years in the food industry, firstly in various technical roles for a number of food producers, and for the last 25 years as a self-employed consultant in food safety and quality. Our region is renowned for its agricultural heritage and is often referred to as the breadbasket of England. It has vast areas of the landscape devoted to agriculture and is home to a diverse range of food businesses, including processors, logistics and service companies, as well as a number of leading food research establishments. Among the producers, for example, we have British Sugar, Green King, Bernard Matthews, McCain Foods, Muntons, to name but a few. For logistics, there's Turners of Soham. You've seen their lorries all over the country. And we have the Port of Felixstowe, which handles almost 50% of non-EU food entering the UK. Several IFST members were privileged to visit their new temperature controlled inspection facility there in 2017. For research, we have the Quadram Institute for Bioscience in Norwich and the National Centre for Food Manufacturing at Holbeach. I'd like you to meet the rest of the Eastern Branch team. So if we could have the next slide, please. They are a diverse and talented group of people that I feel privileged to represent. Briefly, they include ages ranging from 20s to over 65s, a professor, 2 PhDs, with a third on the way, 6 Institute Fellows and 3 members, 5 consultants, 2 researchers, even some have got proper jobs. And for those with an eye on equality, we have 7 female, 6 male committee members. I'd like to talk about 1 or 2 individuals. I don't have time to go into everyone, unfortunately. But Steve Timms is the Commercial Development Manager at Brenntag Food and Nutrition. Steve was instrumental in bringing the branch out of hibernation some 5 or 6 years ago, and much of the structure and processes that he introduced remain today. A past chairman of the branch, he currently serves us as vice chairman. In addition, for IFST, Steve serves on the membership assessment panel for applications to member and fellow grade, and is a member of the Innovation, Product and Packaging SIG. Ray De Barr is a Century Consumer and Market Research Consultant and committee member of the IFST Sensory Science Group. Carol served as our branch secretary since its revival until recently, and is our go-to source for advice on matters relating to social media. Julie Worthington is a food safety consultant specializing in the development of food safety management systems based on BRC, SALSA, and FEMAS. Julie is also a registered scientist and is currently branch secretary. Julian Cooper is retired after over 40 years in the food industry, but remains active as a consultant. He's a visiting professor at Reading University, and for IFST, he is past chair of the scientific committee and former board trustee. Currently active on the scientific committee, COVID advisory group, sustainability working group, MAP and consultation group. He represents IFST on the MCMA board and is in the process of becoming an assessor on the Science Council. Julian's knowledge of the inner workings of IFST has been a huge asset to the branch committee. Finally, Dr. Rob Winwood of Winwood Bioscience Consultancy is a specialist in food ingredients, omega-3 fatty acids, nutrition and fermentation. Rob's been a member of IFST for 43 years and is also a member of the International Society for the Study of Fatty Acids and Lipids. Some of you may have listened to Rob's interesting and informative presentation last week on the potential role of nutrition in delaying mild cognitive impairment. If you missed it, a link will be available on the IFST website shortly. It's well worth a listen. My apologies to those in the branch I've not mentioned personally, but they are all key members and contributors to the success of the branch. As well as managing the business of the branch, together we plan a series of activities for members, typically involving 6 technical visits a year. Well, that was until COVID restrictions were introduced. To create a sustainable program, like everybody else, we've had to develop and adapt to virtual platforms. In August 2020, we conducted a survey of committee members and are in the process of implementing changes in the way that we manage branch business and set out our program. For our branch meetings, we have had to master Zoom, okay for those working in corporate environments, but a bit more challenging for those of us who plough the lone furrow. But in adapting, we've improved the way that our meetings are scheduled, at least a year ahead. For our events program, we lack the resources to generate our own online content to compete with the vast volume of online material already available. Therefore, we've looked at past areas of interest to adapt where possible for online presentation. If we could have the next slide, please. Pre-COVID, we aim to organise at least 6 events per year to share knowledge and provide our IFST members with insights into different technologies. Some examples are shown here on this slide. If we could have the next step, please. This is in May 2017, we visited Aponic, a small startup company situated in the Fens, where they are pioneering the technology of vertical farming that requires no growth medium and reduces water usage by 90% compared to traditional soil-based agriculture. It's ideal for deserts and places where natural disasters have destroyed normal infrastructure. Next step, please. The Science Festival at Ely Cathedral in May 2017 enabled visitors to learn about many different types of science, with members of IFST Eastern Branch on hand to share their knowledge on food science. And the next step, please. A tour of Green King Brewery in February 2018 was a popular event. Who'd have guessed? The next step, please. Our yearly visit to Wilkins & Sons jam factory at Tiptree between 2000 and 2015 and 2019 has proved to be our most attended event in each of the 5 years it's taken place. Only COVID-19 prevented it from being run for the 6th consecutive year in 2020. And the next step, please. In September 2019, a tour of Rainer Foods, family producers of sandwiches, allowed us to appreciate firsthand the meaning of high care in a food assembly production process. And the next step, please. In October 2018, we visited Omega Ingredients, a small flavour house that makes a big impact with its technology. We discovered later that CEO Steve Pearce is no stranger to IFST, having presented his Chemistry of Cocktails roadshow at several branches, and speaking at the IFST Jubilee dinner. We asked Steve if the roadshow could be adapted under COVID-19 restrictions, and in December 2020, we held a virtual cocktail hour with members invited to purchase samples of cocktails to try during Steve's presentation. For 2021, we're proposing to invite Eastern Branch members to join us for an informal virtual networking event involving breakout sessions, and to revive the talk Cheese is Good for You by Richard Marshall using the Zoom platform if COVID restrictions are still in place. But for now, we're closing this session on behalf of the Eastern Branch with the climax from that Chemistry of Cocktails event, with Steve Pearce concocting his version of the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster from Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So thank you for joining us for this session. And if I could ask Robin to roll the video, please, and we'll sign off. Thank you for listening.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster. Cheers. Thanks very much. I'm sure you're all applauding. I just can't hear you.